This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. Just open your Anaconda Navigator. So go to your specific folder. Today I would like to talk about the new data type, which is the list data type. So try to go for create the new Python file, and the title of the file is it 08 10 2022. So Python list data type. Okay. So when it comes to the list data type, so you know what, you already know it, what exactly the list. So Jia, tell me what exactly the list. List means the data we can hold inside of the square brackets, right? Yes or no?
Yes, 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 yes.
So inside of the list or inside of the square brackets, you might hold the similar data type. So maybe all data elements, it can be the integer data types, or else it may be float, or it may be anything. So I just want to display the data what we have inside of the list variable A, and I want to know it what could be the data type of this particular variable A. So here, which is displaying the 12 and 89 and 23. So try to understand here where the elements are, which is a similar data type elements. Okay. What happens if I hold the dissimilar data type elements? If I try to hold the dissimilar data type elements instead of the integer if all elements, maybe you can try to hold the some float data, or else you can try to hold the some complex data. We can try to hold the some kind of boolean data, or we can try with some kind of string data also. Okay. So this one also, which is accepted by Python programming language. So inside of the square brackets, we can hold the dissimilar data type elements. Okay, this kind of property we can call it's a heterogeneous data type. What it is? Heterogeneous data type. So heterogeneous data type means the variable it can hold the multiple elements, and the elements it could be dissimilar data type elements. Clear? So here the elements of the list, one is the integer, second one is the float, third one is the complex, boolean, and string. There are dissimilar data type elements or not? Hello, is these are elements are dissimilar data type elements or not?
Yes, sir.
That's good. Yep. So for example, if I try to hold the list inside of the list, then what happens? Those kind of data types we are calling it say, or variables we are calling it say, nested list. Nested list in the sense, the list, it may contains the list. Okay, it may be any kind of data again. So the second element also, it can be the list only. Okay, so this is the way the variable or the list, it may be hold the list as the element, then it could be nested list, but the data type it could be list only, but you can call as nested list. Okay, and meanwhile we can try to hold the not only list, we can hold the set and dictionary and tuple. So rest of the data type also we can hold it. Even tuple also, it may be element of the list. Even list also, it could be the element of the list. Okay, even set also, it may be element of the list, or else we can hold the dictionary as element of the list. Doesn't matter what it is. Okay. So finally, what I'm trying to tell you, so list is the heterogeneous data type. It can hold the any kind of data type. What we have 10 data types. Okay, is it clear?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So one thing you just try to observe here. For example, you have a list and it may have some number of elements are there. Let me consider I have the 4 and 56 and 67 or 64 or else 88 or else 31 or 53 62. So how many number of elements we have it? These are the 5, and again these are the 5. Total we have the 10 elements are there, right? I want to know that how many number of elements which is holded. If I want to know it, the length of the A, it was returning the number of elements in the list. Okay. Meanwhile, we have a function. The name of the function is it's a max. So from this particular list of elements, I want to know that which element is the big. If I want to know that, then we can use the max function. And I want to know that smallest element from the group of elements, then we can use the min of A. I want to do the sum of all elements in this particular list of elements. Then we can simply apply the sum of A. Sum of A in the sense 90 plus 67 plus 34 plus 89 plus 56 plus 64 plus 88 plus 31 plus 53 plus 62. Okay. So this is what. These are the functions we can apply on the list without any confusions over here. So say max min functions also we can apply on string. Even length also you can apply in the string, but some function which is not supported for the string, but it can be supported in list. But make sure that we can try to observe here when we have the if I have the float, then what happens? If we have the dissimilar data type also, it can be supported for this particular functions. But if I have the complex, then what happens? We'll see. So for example, if I have the complex number as an element of the list, in this particular situation, the max function and the min function was the comparison functions are not supported. So if the list element is, if the list elements are same type of elements, not same type actually, if the list elements are integer and float only, it can be supported the max and min functions. If we have the complex data, it's not possible to find out the max and min. That means if the data type is complex, you cannot compare with complex with any other data type. Okay. So those are the functions are not supported when the element is complex for the list, but sum and length function can be supported. Guys, are you following my point or not?
Yes, yes. I have a small question. How can uh, okay, it's already
See what I'm trying to tell you. If the data elements are either integer or float, you can apply the comparison functions like max and min. But if any one of the element is complex, that particular situation, we cannot compare we cannot use the max and min functions. Clear? Okay, so for example, you have a list. So I want to be access the elements from the list. Of course, you can do with this indexing. With indexing, we can do it. So in case of list indexing, we can start it with 0. A of 0 means 90. A of 1, which means the second element, which is the 67. And meanwhile, we have the 10 elements. Then the last element index is 9. 10 minus 1, 9. So that if I'm giving the 8, A of 8 means it's a 53, the second last one. If I go ahead with A of 9, the last element, which is the 62. Okay, so you can apply the list indexing. With the help of the list indexing, we can access only one element in one time. Okay, so now what I can do, we can apply the negative indexing. The list it can be support the not only positive indexing, negative indexing also can be supports. In case of negative indexing, so basically which is started with -1 to ends with minus length of it, but which is end of, but so which is from right to left, so that -10, which means 90. A of minus means -1 means the second element. If you want to access the second last element, then we can go ahead with A of -2, which is the second last element. A of -1 in the sense it's the last element, so that it's a 62 for this particular. For the same element, it is having the two index numbers. One is the positive number, one is the negative number. Okay, note this example. So negative indexing, this is list negative indexing. Okay, now slicing, list slicing. When it comes to the list slicing, we can access the some group of elements continuously from start index to stop index, right? So here we can mention the variable name and start index and colon and stop index. So here the default start, it could be the 0. The default stop, it could be the length of that particular list. So if you're not mentioned anything, it can go access the all elements from the list. Okay, so if I mention this stop, so as like 6, then from 0 to 5 elements it can go access. So 0 to 5 index positions, whatever the elements we have it, that we can able to go for access. For example, if you mention the start index but you're not mentioned the stop, that particular situation, from your start index position to till your list of elements, the last listed element what it is there, till that particular element, it will continuously can access. Okay, this is what list slicing, same like string slicing. Meanwhile, we can apply the dicing concept. List dicing will help you, so we can access the list of elements. We can access the list of elements in stepwise, start to stop and step. Okay, so for example, so if you are not mention anything, the default step is 1, the default stop is the length of that particular list, the default start is 0. If you not mention anything for these 2 colons in between that, it will go access all elements in one shot. So if I mention the step, if I mention the step, okay, as like 3, so from 0 to end of my list, it will access every third element. So that's the reason after 90 the third element is 89, after the 89 the third element is 88, after the third element it is 62. Okay, if I mention as my stop index is for example 9, then my step is 3, this situation, so it will access till 88 only, because of the last element position is 9, before 9 only it can access, not equal to 9 position also it cannot be go for access. So till 9, not till 9, before 9 only it will access the elements in a some kind of dicing format, because of you mention as the stop is 9. For example, if you mention as the 2 and 2 to 9, if I mention, if I mention my step is 4, this particular situation, the position 2 it can access, and 2 plus 4, 6 position also it can access, and 6 plus 4 it's a 10. 10 it could be the more than 9, right? So that the positions what we have it in a 2 and 6, those particular elements it will access as the list. The second position is 34 and the sixth position is 88, so that those two elements only it will access when you're applying the dicing format. Note this example. Just a minute, guys. Hello. Done, right? So if I try to modify the list elements, list modification can support. So let's try here. For example, we have some list of elements. I have some list of elements. So in this particular situation, unfortunately, my third element is 890, but I want to make it as the 90. So that particular situation, we can directly go with index a of 2 is 890 that I want to be replaced as the 90, that we can easily do it when you are applying the indexing format. Indexing assignment can be supported in case of a list. Okay. Is it clear till what I explained? For example, same thing I want to be try to explain with a tuple. So previously we have a session list and tuple, it could be the similar, right? So that's the reason I can try to duplicate this one. I can execute it with the tuple format. Then what happens, we'll see it. Now let's discuss about tuple. So the list and tuple, it could be almost similar. So let's look at once so that we'll know it whether it is similar or not. For example, I would like to go for explaining about tuple. When it is the tuple means we can go with parenthesis. So in place of square brackets, if we have a parenthesis, then that it could be the tuple. Okay, as even tuple also it's a heterogeneous data type. We can try to hold the dissimilar data type elements. And nested tuple means the tuple it can be hold the tuple only. The tuple it can hold the tuple. Okay, so this is tuple only. So for example, the tuple, if you hold the, we can try to hold the all data type elements in this parenthesis, then even that also can be supported in case of Python programming language. So if I do this kind of operations, is it work or not? We can try it. Yes, it can be supported. This length, max, min, sum also can be supported. So if I have the some dissimilar data type elements list and float only, even that particular situation also, this length, max, min, max, sum function can be supported. But the tuple when we have the complex, data, we can't support the max and min, but it can be supports the length and sum functions only. Okay, so even the tuple also having the positive indexing as well as negative indexing. So very similar, right? Almost similar. 99% it will be similar only. So same elements it will access. For example, negative indexing. How the list is supporting the negative indexing, in the same way the tuple also can be supports, but you just need to be create the tuple. Before that we can access the elements with help of the positive and negative elements. See how we can able to access the some continuous elements from the list. In the same way we can access the from the tuple also. So no difference at all as of now. Tuple dicing also can be supports. No at all, no difference at all as of now. Okay. So now what I'm doing here. So here I can try to modifying the list with the same thing. If I do for the tuple, then what happens we'll see. Tuple modification is not possible, but list modification it can be possible. But if I try to modify the tuple, instead of the my second element is 890, I want to make it as the 90, which is not possible once if you're defining the tuple. This is the difference between the list and tuple, guys. Clear? This
Yes,
list
sir.
and tuple almost similar. Only one situation it has a difference. So tuple you cannot modify, list you can modify. Clear or not? It's clear, right?
Uh-huh.
You can't see your voice.
Yes, yes. Modify the list.
Okay, here the list which is having some kind of manipulation methods, in the same way the tuple also having some kind of manipulation methods. So what are the manipulation methods are there in the list? We can look here. In the meanwhile, we can try to look the what are the manipulation methods are there in the tuple also. Dir of tuple. So here we don't have much manipulation methods. We have only two methods are there, count and index. This underscore 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 ends with and start with underscore underscore. These are the special methods. It can be invoked automatically. I'm not talking about this one. I'm talking about manipulation methods. In tuple, we have only two manipulation methods are there, but in list, we have the sort, reverse, pop, insert, extend, count, copy, clear, append. This many manipulation methods are there. Okay. For example, you have a list. You have the list. I want to be append one more element to my existing list. So append append of, for example, 100. I can try to print the a. So here previously till 34 only we have it, which is appending one element to my existing list A. Okay. So my existing list we can modify or we can append some element. But the same thing we can try with tuple, which is not support. We can try with the tuple. So if we have a tuple, if we try to modify or if we try to append one element to my existing tuple which is not supported because of append method is not there, we have only count and index. Other than these two methods, if I try to use any list methods which is not at all support. Okay, for example, clear. So when you are applying the when you are did the clear, then all elements one shot it can be removed. But same method if I try to use it, which is not supports. If I try to go and use the clear method, if I try to use the clear in case of tuple elements in one shot, which is not possible because of my existing tuple I'm trying to be modifying as the empty list, empty tuple. So which is not at all possible. So for example, copy. So we have a which is have some elements are there. I want to be copy into another variable, for example b, and so we can use the copy a dot copy. In this particular situation, the elements of a and the elements of b could be the same. For example, we can try to do it directly. You can assigning the b equal to a also, right? This particular situation also, the data elements can be the similar, the output could be the similar. Then what is the difference between a dot copy and a equal to b? The difference is once if we copied, then I want to be modify the either b or a. I want to be modify the b. For example, I want to append the 100. After you appended, then I want to be print the a. I want to be print the b. So b is modified, but a is not at all modified. Only b is modified because of you, or you did the operation on only on b. You're not doing operation on a. So that's the reason only b is changed, but a is not at all changed. But the same thing, if I do the tuple, then what happens? sorry, not tuple. If I try to assigning the b equal to a, this situation, if you changing the b, the updation can be automatically happen for the a also. This is the difference between the copy and assignment methods. Okay, so here a is not changed, but here a is changed. This is the difference. This kind of copying we are calling it's a deep copy. So this kind of copy we are calling it the shallow copy. Shallow copy means if you're copying one elements, if you're copying elements from one variable to another variable, if you modifying the any one of the variable, the updation not at all happen for the another variable. But if you go with the deep copy, if you changing any one, the updation can be happen for another one also. Okay, so I think so copy method also not at all supported in tuple. If I have the tuple, if I do the copy method, so you cannot copy the elements from A and you cannot assigning to the B. But if we have the tuple, which we have some elements, but we can directly assigning the variable to another variable. Okay, we don't have any copy method for the tuple, but we have assignment operation can be supports. So you done the append copy clear count. So for example, you have a variable a, which we have some elements up there. I want to be make it, for example, 89 is 2 times and 2 is 2 times, and in 89 can be the 3 times, and again 89 is 4 times. I want to know that how many times one particular element is repeated in my list. So the count operation can be supported in tuple. If I go with tuple, if I doing the count of 89, it can be supported. So here the 89, it is there in tuple 4 times, so that which is returns the 4 here. Count is done, right? So extend. So for example, I have the 2 list elements are there, and I want to be extending the extend the A with elements of B. Okay, so before extend and after extend, I want to be display the variables, and I would like to extending the A and with my B elements also. So that means A will be A elements also there, as well as B elements, which is copying and appending at end of my A list. So this situation, the A is having the 6 elements and the B is having the only 3 elements. This extend method is not there in tuple. I don't want to be execute this time because of you already know it. For example, so we have a list and I want to be know it the index position for one particular variable, then we can use the a dot index. If I go with index of 34, so the index position of 34 is 2, so that which is returns the true. Index will help you to know the position of one particular element. So meanwhile, the index will be supported in tuple. Count and index only can be supported in tuple. Other than these two, we cannot do any kind of manipulations on tuple. Okay, index also done. Now insert. So we have the 4 elements are there. In between 34 and 90 and 34, I want to be insert one element which is 20. before inserting and after inserting, we'll try to print it. So make it first argument is the position. This is 0, this is 90. Okay, so 0 position is this 0 position is 4 and first position is 90. But in place of second position, I want to be 20 or 100. I want to be 100. In the position of 2, I want 100. Already in the position of 2, 34 is there. It was making as the third position. Third position is converting into or moving into the fourth position. Okay, this is the way you can inserting one element in any one of the position. The first argument is the position, the second argument is the element what you want to be insert. So pop reverse. Okay, so let me go with pop. Pop will help you to remove the element from right to left. So when I'm using the pop, which is removing the last element, default it is last element. Once it is removed, then I want to know that what could be the position, what are the elements are there in A. So once if we remove the 10, we have out of 4, we have only 3 elements are there. Okay, if I go with again pop, we have only 2 elements are there because of the last position is 34. If I'm using the pop, the last position is 34 and the 34 also can be removed. So if you remove the 34, we have only 2 elements. So when you are not providing the position, then automatically it can be removing from the right to left. But if I mention the index, then what happens? If I mention the 1, the 90 was removed. If I mention the 0, the first element can be removed. Okay, so if I mention the 1, the position of 1 is 90. So 90 was removed. Once if we remove the 90, then we have only 3 elements are there. So from these 3, the position of 0 is 4. If I want to remove the 0 position, then pop of 0, if I providing, then 34 is removed, then we have only 34 and 10. This is the way you can able to remove the one specific position element, or else if you're not providing anything, default which is removing from right to left or rightmost element. Okay, so we have the one more method. The method name is remove method. So when it is the remove method, you can directly give the element instead of the position. If element is there, it can be removed. If element is not there, then what happens we'll see. So 100 is not there. If I try to remove the 100, it can be error. Okay, 100 is not there, even you try to remove it. That's a problem here. That's the error we got here. So we have a method is reverse. When it is the reverse, then all elements, it can be first element is becomes last element becomes first element, second element is becomes second last element is becomes the second element. This is the way the elements can be changing the positions. Okay, so when I'm applying the sort will help you sorting the elements from right ascending of format. First element is 4, second element is 30, and third element is 34, and fourth element is 90. So the elements can be ordering as like ascending format. Okay, so guys, this is what a list and tuple for this particular class. I explaining about tuple and list. We can try to practice it, these two data types. Uploading these two files in our canvas. Okay, uploaded the list as well as tuple. String is done, list is done, and tuple is done. We left only two data types, which is the set and dictionary, that we can talk by tomorrow class.
Okay, thank you.
Guys, is there any questions for today's class? Guys, actually I can't hear your voice, so we can if you have any kind of questions, please put in the chat so that I can try to answer it. I hope so you don't have any questions, and let's meet by tomorrow class. Bye, take care, see you.